Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
Do you think this bill will pass, and will it pass before the end of session?
Well, we begin tonight with crisis in the classroom and drama surrounding the fate of universal school choice in Tennessee. With roughly 2 weeks left in the legislative session, 3 competing bills still out there. Is there time to pass any of them? Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller live downtown at the state capitol with more on the status of school choice.
Yes, Scott. Well, there's a House, Senate, and governor's version of this school voucher bill. Now, Republicans, some of them believe that we are headed in the right direction and close to reaching an agreement, while some Democrats we spoke with say that we're so far apart that it will be impossible to reach an agreement before session ends. The school voucher bill, also known as the school choice bill, would give families the choice to send their children to private or public schools. The Senate version of the bill passed that chamber, but the governor's and the House's versions have yet to pass. Governor Bill Lee believes there's a lot of good conversations happening right now to come up with one bill for the entire state.
There's a broad public acceptance for the ability for parents to have more choice in where their kids go to school. Parents are the best decider for where their kids go and what they learn.
In the House, this bill hasn't been heard in committee in a few weeks, and that's because Representative William Lamberth says they are in no rush and are having ongoing conversations about things like open enrollment, testing, and evaluations.
When you look at the different topics that are in this bill, actually the House and Senate, in my opinion, have never been closer together on this, and those conversations are going extremely well.
But some Democrats are not as optimistic about this process or this bill.
Some people today, on the Republican side were saying that the House and Senate are working well together. The school voucher bill is headed in the right direction. What is your reaction to this?
That is not what I'm hearing. I am hearing that we are so far apart that it's going to be really almost impossible to find middle ground.
Senator Heidi Campbell says session will likely end in 2 weeks, and she does not see all 3 parties coming to an agreement in time. She also believes this bill is a scam and will destroy public education because it's sending money to families who can already afford private school. Representative Lamberth says that this bill will be discussed in committee next week, and he says it could move through the House either next week or the following week. Reporting live from the state capitol, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Staying with crisis in the classroom, Metro school teachers putting district leaders on notice. They are agitated over big class sizes and having their planning periods interrupted while they serve as subs. And some believe that extra work deserves extra pay.
We have a quorum. I appreciate everyone's attendance.
The Metro School Board always gets an earful during public comments, but in this meeting, most of the comments came from within, specifically teachers talking about 2 hot-button issues, pay and a lack of respect for their planning periods.
We need to make sure everybody knows what is going on in our schools, and speaking here at the school board is an important way for us to do that.
Cockrell Elementary teacher Mary Jo Cram is among those going on record. She's also secretary-treasurer of the Metro Teachers Union, and she's not alone.
Our classrooms runneth over.
Charlene Culbertson is a teacher at Schwab Elementary in East Nashville. In addition to frequently losing her planning period, Culbertson complained about excessive paperwork. And on class sizes, Culbertson has a suggestion.
Maybe give a stipend for every student that exceeds the classroom cap. 25 kids in a kindergarten room, but more enroll. Let's say $50 per student that comes in over that 25. Doesn't help the lack of physical room, but that teacher gets extra for the extra.
And when we're solving, we always undo.
Metro teachers are the highest paid in the state with an average starting salary of $54,000 a year. But because of the cost of living here, they say it's still not enough.
Can a new teacher afford to live in the community they serve? Can a 5 or 10-year teacher afford to live in Nashville? Can an M&PS teacher afford to buy a home or raise a family in Nashville? A city is judged by how it treats its teachers.
The city's new budget year begins July the 1st. Metro teachers now urging members of the school board to work with Metro Council to increase their pay. Right now, the district has more than 600 certified positions are open. Among those, 137 full-time teachers. This is obviously a talker, and we want to know what you think. Should teachers be paid more if their classes are over capacity? So far, 457, so a little over 450 people weighing in. Almost 79% say yes, a little over 21% say no. The poll's still live right now. If you'd like to weigh in, you can scan the QR code there on the right side of your screen. It'll take you to our X page at Fox Nashville, and we will update the results for you later in the newscast. Crisis in the Classroom is our ongoing commitment to you, our viewers, to expose problems and to look for solutions to issues in our schools. If you have a story you'd like to see us cover, send an email to news@fox17.com telling us about it, or you can phone our tip line at 615-266-4149.
People don't realize until they go down there how really bad it is down there with the amount of trash and just the people underneath that bridge.
And the high cost of homelessness now. New concerns about trash and safety in the camps along the Cumberland River downtown. Metro leaders say it's an ongoing issue, highlighted, though, by the recent search for missing college student Riley Strain. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker shows us what the city is doing about these camps.
If you walk along the Cumberland River, it's not hard to notice those homeless encampments scattered out and also the truckloads of trash, a little bit of what you're seeing right behind me. Now, another big concern for people is the issue surrounding safety and the potential to fall in the water. All along the Cumberland River, spanning miles apart, you'll see homeless encampments scattered across the embankment, with trash spilling out into the water.
All sorts of trash into the water, fecal matter, tires, car batteries. Needles. We removed probably about 1,000 needles out of Old Tent City in the past year. There's hazardous issues everywhere.
Barry Dupnick has been cleaning up homeless encampments across Nashville for more than a year after he says he got tired of the city's lack of action.
In these homeless camps, there have been cars engulfed in flames, dumpsters engulfed in flames. Drug issues are very prevalent.
This weekend, Dupnick and a group of volunteers will tackle areas along the river. But he says the trash spilling out of the camps is not the only concern, pointing to the complex issues surrounding homelessness.
There's a lot of places along the river that they have tapped into the NES power lines. They have extension cords. They have all these different things that they have. And there's really no incentive to leave some of these spots just because they're comfortable in these spots.
Metro Councilman Jacob Coopin says a resolution is on Metro Council's agenda, requesting various agencies to provide a comprehensive analysis on the area.
So they've already been working on these efforts pertaining to litter, pertaining to housing, pertaining to security, all that. After Riley's disappearance, I engaged in kind of more urgent conversations around that riverfront area.
Last month, as crews searched for Riley Strain, a homeless man was saved after falling into the river. But Coopin says Metro Parks and NDOT have already gone out to get measurements for fencing, and the Office of Homeless Services is working on wraparound services for the unhoused. Now, this Sunday, starting at 10 a.m., crews will be out here along the river by foot and also by boat to help clean up some of this trash. If you'd like to partake in this, we have the organizers' information on our website, fox17.com. For now, reporting in Nashville, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
New information now on a story that we first told you about last night, a proposal to limit public comments at Metro school board meetings. Speakers already have to register and are limited to 3 minutes. School board is now considering adding rules that would limit topics to only those on the board agenda and capping comments at a total of 30 minutes. You'd also have to submit your speech in writing 48 hours in advance. Teachers and others pushing back have found a friend in school board member Abigail Tyler.
The ability to know every detail of a speech before we allow it to be spoken looks less like we want to hear what our constituents have to say and more like we want to have absolute control over that narrative.
Tyler wants the board to rethink what it's thinking about doing here and to dump the written submission part of the proposal. The school board will be taking this and other potential changes on the public comment rules up when they meet next on Tuesday. All right, weather-wise, it didn't seem warmer today, but it wasn't a bad day. Kind of windy, at least for the first part.
Yeah, a little bit breezy. Most of it stayed pretty dry, too, but temperatures were a little bit cooler than normal, like you were saying.
We've been spoiled.
Right. Absolutely, we've been spoiled. Those temperatures in the 80s. We are going to warm up as we head on in the next week. Not going to quite reach the 80s again, but we will warm up. Here's your live look over Broadway. Overall, a pretty good night for you, but just cold. Not really having to worry about any sort of rain. At least most of us aren't. Most of us are dry. I'll show you that in a second. We're at 47 here in Nashville. Still seeing the clouds sticking around with us right now, and those will be sticking around too for at least the next several hours. I think by late tonight, very late tonight, early tomorrow morning, we could see a few breaks in the cloud cover. As far as the rain goes over the past 3 hours, most of that has stayed to the north of here. We did start to see a few showers, though, dip into southern Kentucky, also moving across the plateau right now. Just some very light shades of green popping up on radar. Nothing bad that you're going to have to worry about. No bad weather, none of that. Just very light shower activity. Also wanted to show you this, too. The new drought monitor map just came out today, and none of Middle Tennessee or southern Kentucky having to deal with any sort of drought. Just those abnormally dry conditions that are shaded in yellow. But overall, our drought situation right now looking a lot better than it was several months ago. Temperatures right now in the 40s and 50s for everybody else. Columbia, one of the warmer spots at 50. We are expecting some chilly nights ahead and then a better chance for rain next week. Those details coming up.
Too vague? The latest legal challenges to Tennessee's abortion law. And more than just a pest, the problems that
Durham Injury Law at 615-242-9000 for a free case evaluation.
New tonight, the battle over Tennessee's abortion law heats up today in a Nashville courtroom. Right now, state law only allows doctors to terminate a pregnancy if the woman's life is in danger or if she is in danger of serious harm. Attorneys are trying to persuade a 3-judge panel that the wording in the bill, or the law I should say, is too vague. Tennessee's Attorney General is asking for the lawsuit to be dismissed and warns that changes could mean doctors in our state would be able to provide abortions unchecked. The judges heard arguments all day long and finally took the case under advisement. We'll keep you posted. In health news now, ticks are often mistakenly thought to be insects, but they're actually relatives of spiders. And ticks can transmit dangerous diseases to humans, and that's why you want to avoid them. Experts say they're outside earlier than normal this year. Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse shows us how to protect ourselves.
In the U.S., tick season usually peaks between May and July, and then again in the fall. But it's April, and the creatures are already out.
They are hungry, so they are looking for their first meal of the year, and they do pose that risk of transmitting infection.
Bobby Pritt with Mayo Clinic says you can help prevent tick bites. Check your body often, especially after being outdoors. Wear long sleeves and pants. And tuck those pants into socks, giving ticks less skin they can bite. And make sure to wear bug spray.
Usually we look for tick repellents that have at least 30% DEET, but there are other chemicals, picaridin, is a very good repellent.
If you do get bitten, Pritt says not to panic. Remove the tick as quickly as possible.
The best way to do that is with tweezers that you can use close to the skin, as close as possible. Grasp the head of the tick as it's going into the skin and just pull it out in a slow, continuous motion, taking care to not squeeze the tick or breaking off the mouth parts if you can help it.
Pritt says if you live in an area where Lyme disease is present, find a swollen tick attached to your skin. Consider seeing a doctor, especially if it's been attached for 36 hours or more.
Your doctor can prescribe antibiotics to prevent Lyme disease.
And be aware of the symptoms of Lyme disease, including fever, body aches and pains, upset stomach, severe headache, and fatigue. Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Dr. Pritt says to avoid home remedies that could make matters worse. In fact, she says don't smother a tick with Vaseline. Some of you have heard about doing that. Don't touch it with a hot match. She says that will irritate the skin and the tick and potentially increase the risk of infection.
I hate them.
I know. Let's talk about the weather. The ticks would have been blown off anything they were hanging on to today, which would have put anybody outside at risk.
It was a little bit breezy. Just imagine all those ticks flying through the air.
There's a lot of stuff flying through the air today.
Yeah.
Pollen.
I know, and I'm hoping that pollen is held at bay, and hopefully this rain next week helps out with some of that a little bit too. Here you go, though. Here's another live look over Broadway. It's still a calm night out there on Broadway this Thursday night. It's a cold night, though, 47 degrees. That's our current temperature, a little bit cloudy, too, and we're going to keep some of those clouds around with us as we head through the next several hours, too. We could see those start to break up at least a little bit very early tomorrow morning. Wide view of radar still showing the bulk of that activity well to the north of here. Really haven't had to deal with much at all today. Here's southern Kentucky, middle Tennessee, nearly all dry. We have had a few of these very spotty light showers, really not amounting to much of anything. No issues with any of that rain moving through right now. Current temperatures, they're in the 40s for most locations. 46 in Dickson, 45 Clarksville, also down at 45 in Tullahoma, 47. That's the current temperature down there in Lewisburg. I want to show you this rain chance, though, as we head on into early next week. We do have that eclipse on Monday, obviously. Here's the rest of tonight. We're going to stay dry for the rest of the night. Some of those clouds will keep on clearing out to the east as well. Friday morning, 7 o'clock, I think we're off to a dry start to Friday morning. We're going to stay dry through the rest of tomorrow. A few more breaks in the clouds tomorrow than what we had today. Partly cloudy skies for us for the rest of tomorrow. And then Saturday morning, we are off to a dry start on Saturday. I think we're going to stay dry through the rest of Saturday. And then by the time we hit Sunday, that's when we finally start to bring in another rain chance. But I think we have to wait a little bit on that. Sunday morning, I think we're pretty dry. Sunday afternoon, late afternoon, some of those showers should start to be moving into our northwestern areas. And then those will get a little bit more widespread through the rest of the day. This is 10 o'clock p.m. on Sunday night. More of those showers continuing to push off to the east. Monday morning, most of the activity in our very far southern counties and eastern counties. This is the day of that total solar eclipse. It's a partial solar eclipse for us right here in Middle Tennessee and in southern Kentucky. We will not see full totality, but I'm hoping some of those clouds will try to clear on out a little bit. As of right now, though, it does look like a decent chance that we will see some cloud cover for us in Tennessee and in the parts of southern Kentucky, too. And then as we head on into Tuesday, I think that's when the rain becomes a little bit more widespread. This is Tuesday morning, widespread showers and thunderstorms. It's going to stick around with us throughout the day on into the night. And then Wednesday morning, just more of the same. And that's going to be the same story for us as we go into Thursday as well. Kind of widespread showers and thunderstorms going to be possible for us on Thursday. The good news, though, with these rounds of storms moving through next week, I think the severe weather threat is going to stay to the south and west of us for Monday. That's where those areas are highlighted in that shade of yellow from the Storm Prediction Center. And then for Tuesday, a similar setup. It just shifts slightly further to the south, but still far away from us. I don't think we're going to have to worry about much of a severe weather threat at all right here in Middle Tennessee or southern Kentucky. For tonight, 35. It will be a chilly night, mostly cloudy skies for most of the night. We could see a little bit of patchy frost develop overnight tonight. And then for tomorrow night, I think we could even see a little bit more of that. Warmer weather is on the way, though, and I'll have those details coming up for you in your 7-day in just a bit.
Hey there, on Fox 17 News this morning, anchor Erica Glover. Well, it seems like prices for just about everything are more expensive this year. Well, grocery prices have shot up 21% over the last 3 years. What products have had the biggest rise in cost?
Accidents. If you've been injured, ask around. I'll bet someone you trust will tell you, get Hughes & Coleman and get it done. Call 800-800-4600.
Continuing coverage on the border crisis now and growing concerns about migrants with criminal backgrounds getting into our country. Fox 17 News' Christine Frizzau explains that issue, and be sure to scan the QR code that will appear on your screen during our story to let us know what you think.
The police found guns, drugs, and an astonishing revelation about some of the Venezuelan migrants arrested this week with squatters in a Bronx, New York apartment building. 2 of them had open criminal cases, including one arrested last summer for attempted murder and arrested again a week ago. Both times released.
Why do we have our cops put in a very dangerous situation? They shouldn't have been there for that. It should have been handled the first time. Those 2 people shouldn't have been out in the community.
The suspect in the murder of Laken Riley had also been arrested here in the U.S. and released, despite his crimes and despite authorities knowing he was an undocumented immigrant. Another group of Venezuelan migrants arrested in Texas this week with guns and drugs. And the number of migrants arriving from China is now breaking records, from just 342 in 2021 to more than 24,000 in 2023 and already 22,000 just in the first 6 months of fiscal year 2024. In all of these cases, many now wondering if they had criminal pasts in their home countries. The answer, we may never get.
When they say vetted, they do not mean that any criminal record was checked in Venezuela of people who they are either releasing or paroling at the border. Same with Cuba. The Cubans don't like us. We've been enemies ever since, 1959, since the revolution. So they don't give us information.
The Biden administration has insisted the vetting is taking place.
Individuals who seek parole under our January 5th program for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans are screened and vetted before they arrive at our border.
House Republicans are now demanding answers from the Department of Homeland Security, not just about migrants with criminal backgrounds, but those with terrorist ties. They say they still haven't gotten answers about the threat that could already be inside the country. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzau.
During this story, we had a QR code on your screen linking you to a poll asking whether you're concerned about Uncle Sam not doing background checks on migrants who are entering the country. Look how many people weighed in, 874. 94.6% say yes, I'm very worried about that. Only 5.4% said they weren't. Our thanks to all who took time to cast a ballot. Electric vehicle sales are slowing down, but interest in
4,600. This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Electronic Express. We make it happen.
In entertainment news, local chef Nicole Renard is still competing on the hit primetime Fox show Next Level Chef here on Fox 17. And tonight she started down in the basement. Folks, it's just like it sounds. Nicole joins us now live to talk about the episode. Delighted to have you back with us. And I've got to ask, first time on the show, you actually competed as a team, 3-course meal, 30 minutes to do it. You guys only had 2 people. The other guys had 3. How stressful was that?
It was so stressful, especially when Chef Ramsay joked that we got to drop 1 course. I was thinking, okay, finally, that sounds fair because we're the only team that has 2 people. And he said, just kidding. And so not only are we in the basement with the worst ingredients, but we also have to figure out how to pull off 3 courses with just 2 people.
You know, we've talked about the basement before. It's not the first time you've been down there. You probably, knew when the thing finally makes it down here that the tray of ingredients, not much is going to be left. Really random today, though. Rabbit and octopus for a 3-course meal. Of course, you made dessert.
I did. I was lucky to be in charge of the dessert. I have a background in pastry, and so I felt like I was in my element. And luckily, everything I needed to make the cake I could find in the staple pantry. So really, the stuff I was grabbing off the platform were my extras: my citrus, the strawberries, the mint leaves, the lemon curd, and I was helping Zach grab as well for the appetizer and entree. We were working together as a team, and honestly, I felt like we communicated well and we did work well as a team.
I thought you did. I tell you what, though, when all the dishes were out, I could almost see the nervousness in your face. You're going, gosh, did we make the cut? Is this good enough? Because everybody had something that went pretty well.
Absolutely. I was nervous because my cake did not bake. We did not have enough time. The pans were too big. There was nothing smaller, and I had to serve crumble, essentially. And you saw my dish. I was not proud of it. I actually cried. They didn't show that part, but I was so nervous because I knew if we don't win top dish, and I don't know that this is enough to win, I'm going to elimination because Zach has an immunity pin, and if they were to randomly send him, he would use it on me. So I'm so thankful that we got top dish.
Well, I was delighted, and I'll be honest with you, I've had the little disasters at our house too, and it always, pick it apart, and it comes out tasting good. How cool was it to be able to sit back because you actually won this challenge and watch the others compete in one more contest?
Oh my gosh, that elimination round was just so intense. Probably the most intense one we've had on the season so far. So watching in the lounge made it a little bit more relaxing, but we were all super stressed.
I can imagine. Now, I'll tell you for the record, I really thought that your crumble cake looked good. If I had some ice cream, I would love to have had a piece of that. Thank you for doing this. We're continuing to root for you and keep representing.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. New tonight, a legal setback for former President Donald Trump. The judge presiding over his Georgia election interference case rejected a motion by Mr. Trump's attorney to dismiss the case, lost that round. Former president accused of trying to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election there in Georgia. His defense team argued that the statements he made about looking for a certain number of votes is protected political speech, but the judge ruled that Mr. Trump's statements in that particular case are not protected by the First Amendment. The Trump team is planning to appeal. Earlier in the newscast, we told you about our nightly X poll this evening, asking whether you think teachers should be paid more if their classes are over capacity. 488 people now weighing in. The numbers holding steady. 78.7% say yes. Makes sense to me. 21.3% say no. We'll have another update on these numbers for you coming up tonight during Fox 17 News at 10. Well, 2024 could well see the most active Atlantic hurricane season in history. Colorado State University hurricane researchers released their initial outlook for the upcoming season today. The team is calling for 23 named storms, with 11 that are expected to become full-scale hurricanes, and 5 of those, they believe, could reach Category 3 status or higher.
And it was a little cool here today. We had a high temperature in the mid-50s right here in Nashville. Tomorrow we are going to go up a little bit, but not a whole lot. I'm going with 59 degrees for the high temperature here in Nashville tomorrow. Our average high temperature is 69, so we could be well below normal for this time of year. Overall, just a cooler than normal day. We will see a little bit more sunshine, I think, tomorrow. Also, not looking at much of a rain chance for us for tomorrow either. I think we keep it dry for Friday. We're going to stay dry on Saturday too. Sunday we start out dry, and then later on in the day, we'll bring in a better chance for some of those showers. Monday, that's the day that we're going to see that eclipse. I think we could see some showers for our southern and eastern counties in the morning hours. I think we do get a little bit of a break in the rain activity, though, for the rest of Monday. I'm hoping we get some breaks in the cloud cover, but as of right now, the cloud forecast really not looking the greatest for us in Nashville or anywhere in Middle Tennessee. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that'll be the better chance for some more widespread, potentially showers and thunderstorms. The good news with that, though, not looking at really any severe weather threat as of right now, at least, for those storms Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Saturday, we go up a little bit, 63. Sunday, we're back to the mid-70s. 76, our high temperature on Monday, lower 70s on Tuesday. Wednesday, we're in the mid-70s. Thursday, we drop down a little, keep it right at 70. So temperatures overall not too bad. Real quick, want to show you this eclipse map. So there's the path of totality. We are not in the path of totality, so it's not going to look near as good as what the folks in the path of totality see. But the maximum coverage we get in Nashville, that's going to be at 2:03 on Monday afternoon.
Seeing history firsthand for yourself can be a stressful undertaking. What you need to know before you travel to view next week's solar eclipse.
The electric vehicle industry is slowing. Team News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Eurostone.
In consumer news, as the sale of electric vehicles slows down, the interest in hybrid vehicles, believe it or not, is on the rise. Fox 17 News' Kayla Gaskins shows us why.
Americans appear less and less eager to give up their gas-powered vehicles for electric. Data for the first quarter of 2024 shows electric vehicle sales slowed yet again, even as overall new vehicle sales rose nearly 5%. EV sales grew just 2.7% in the first months of 2024, compared with last year's 47%.
We kind of have this crossroads where, enthusiasm meets reality. I think a lot of consumers today, you're not having those early adopters who we're willing to concede on many aspects of the vehicle.
A recent study by Boston Consulting Group finding consumers hesitant to buy EVs worry most about range, charging time, and sticker price.
I think in the current market environment, high interest rates, gas prices have been relatively low. I think consumers are just kind of hitting pause, so to speak, on EVs.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg comparing EV hesitancy to early skeptics of cell phones.
Sometimes when these debates happen, I feel like it's the early 2000s, and I'm talking to some people who think that we can just have landline phones forever.
On Thursday, Ford announcing it's delaying production on all-electric SUV and pickup trucks, shifting focus to hybrid options. This comes as hybrids increase in popularity. Data from Car Gurus shows hybrid sales grew nearly 5 times faster than sales of EVs.
You can get a lot of the benefits of an electric vehicle, particularly with a plug-in hybrid, but without kind of the limitations. If you need to go on a longer trip, you still have that internal combustion engine on board.
Meanwhile, a massive surplus of Chinese electric vehicles threatens to upend the U.S. EV industry. This week, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is in China meeting with officials, urging them to slow down production. I'm Kayla Gaskins reporting.
An update now on efforts to clean up the mess left behind by the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse up in Baltimore.
For their response and bravery, it is the Chief's honor to present these officers with the Chief's Award.
Police divers honored today for fearlessly getting in that water and searching the wreckage for victims in dark and dangerous conditions. They say that they could still hear the unstable bridge and ship creaking above them and moving under the water. Divers are still very much dealing with difficult and dangerous conditions below the surface.
That water is so murky that salvage divers cannot see any more than 1 to 2 feet in front of them.
President Biden will be at the Baltimore Harbor tomorrow to visit with local leaders. The White House says he does plan to ask Congress to pay for a new bridge.
And we're really not seeing any rain right now for most of us here in Middle Tennessee, but that rain chance will increase as we head on in the next week. More details on that after the break.
Saturday at 6:30 on Fox 17.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Eurostone.
Some places in the path of totality for Monday's solar eclipse are expecting really gridlock as thousands of people travel trying to get a good look at the big event. Tonight, Betty Cross has some advice to help make your trip to totality as it would be as smooth as possible.
Just in time for Monday's solar eclipse, Fredericksburg is preparing for 100,000 visitors to clog Highway 290. Across the state, other areas along the path of totality are also planning for the worst-case scenario of traffic coming to a standstill.
We expect 1 million or more people to visit the state of Texas to see the eclipse.
Brad Wheelis with TxDOT says the roads we use most are likely to be hit hardest.
Here in Austin, I-35, SH-71, US 290, US 183, our major corridors could see gridlock.
It's why neighborhood libraries and parks are offering free eclipse watching events across Austin and Travis County.
I personally can't wait to experience this for the first time in my lifetime, seeing it from one of our Travis County parks.
Travis County Judge Andy Brown hopes many people will choose to stay close to home on April 8th. Silker Park is one of many parks across the Austin area that will be hosting parties and handing out free eclipse glasses to keep people in their neighborhoods.
We want you to stay in place. Do not travel if you don't have to.
9 branches of the Austin Public Library are also hosting watch parties.
All of these events will include crafts and activities for all ages and are a great opportunity to gather with a group of people to watch the eclipse close to home so you don't have to travel far.
To further reduce the potential for traffic jams, Capital Metro is providing free rides to people who aren't within walking or biking distance of an eclipse viewing party. It's a concerted effort to deal with crowds that are expected to be the equivalent of what the city sees during Formula One and South by Southwest.
The number one message everybody ought to have is that we're expecting a whole lot of people.
Well, on Monday, be sure to check out the Fox17.com website for our 30-minute solar eclipse special. It's going to start at 1:45, run to 2:15. Our chief meteorologist, Katie Morgan, will be on there in the path of totality, checking things out and sharing some very cool science facts. So dial her up on the phone, listen as you watch. And you can see total eclipse coverage from Texas all the way up to Maine and the Northeast at our website, Fox17.com, starting at noon and running all the way until 3 o'clock. Looking ahead now to Sunday morning and a new episode of Full Measure. New research by the National Institutes of Health says 1 in 4 adults here in the U.S. may have suffered from long COVID. A doctor treating thousands of those patients, people coping with long-term issues associated with a COVID diagnosis, says he's seeing young, formerly healthy people whose lives have been turned upside down by COVID complications.
Or go from that to being debilitated. And then on top of that, as Pierre said, I mean, the kind of increase in the type of cancer diagnosis that I even have in my primary care practice, to neurological diseases that I never thought would happen, to things like systemic amyloidosis that I would have never seen in some of these patients, or may have seen once in a lifetime.
Closer look at the impact of long-haul COVID Sunday morning, 7:30 a.m. on Full Measure right here on Fox 17. Now, between now and then, the forecast is probably going to change some in terms of cloud cover and what we might expect for the eclipse, but a lot of people are paying very much attention to the forecast.
Yeah, I know, and Scott, I think right now the forecast for the cloud cover, at least for us, isn't looking the greatest, so hopefully it does change.
I'm hoping.
I know, I am too. Pretty cool event, though, for everybody in the path of totality, and really hope it clears out for all of those folks, because it is really cool when you're in the path of totality, seeing what that eclipse looks like. Another live look over Broadway, a little bit more of a crowd out there tonight, right now, and it is a chilly night for us if you do have any outdoor plans tonight. 47 degrees, that's our current temperature in Nashville. We still have some clouds out there too. You can see the gold walking down the street. I guess the Preds game just finished up too. There was a Preds game tonight at Bridgestone. Radar not showing much activity for us right here in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. The bulk of that has stayed to the north throughout most of today. We're going to zoom in right here on our area, just show you this radar loop from over the past 3 hours. Had a few of those showers drop in from Southern Kentucky through parts of Middle Tennessee. Right now, just a few very, very light showers right there along the plateau, and that is about it. Most areas right now are still staying dry. Temperatures in the 40s for most of us, 45 in Dickson, 46 in Murfreesboro, 45 for Tullahoma, 48 down in Columbia. That's actually one of the warmest spots on the map right now. Could see some patchy frost develop late tonight and another round of that as we go on into Friday night. The rest of tonight, I still think we're keeping it mostly dry, maybe just a few more of those light showers for the next hour or so. Overall, though, nothing bad with any of that. Some of those clouds will start to clear out of here for very early tomorrow morning. I think tomorrow, overall, we're going to be partly cloudy. We're going to stay dry for tomorrow, not really expecting much of a rain chance at all tomorrow. And a similar story for us on Saturday, too. Saturday, I think we're going to keep it dry in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. And then as we head on into Sunday, that's when those conditions are going to start to change up a little bit. We just have to wait a little bit later on in the day for that rain to finally work its way to us. So Sunday morning, overall, I think we're off to a pretty dry start. And then by Sunday afternoon, some of those showers are going to start to move into our northwestern areas. That'll keep on sliding east through the rest of Sunday, leaving us with a better round of some widespread showers Sunday night. Monday morning, some of that clears out. This is the day of the eclipse. Right now, it's still looking kind of cloudy right here across a good bit of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Again, hopefully some of those clouds will clear out for us for Monday. Tuesday morning, more widespread showers and thunderstorms. We're going to keep that activity off and on through the rest of the day, on into the night. Wednesday, more of the same. And then Thursday, it's basically just a repeat of Tuesday and Wednesday for us. Thunderstorms will be possible. The good news, though, not expecting any severe weather. I think the severe weather threat is going to stay to the south and west of us. That was Monday. This right here is Tuesday. It just shifts a little bit further to the south. So overall, I think we are looking pretty good as far as no severe weather with this round of storms moving through for the next, for early next week. 63 on Saturday, 74 a high temperature on Sunday, a 40% chance for showers and thunderstorms, and then that good chance for a better chance for storms Tuesday through Thursday.
Just ahead, hitting the road in a giant nutmobile, if you would. The unique opportunity to see the country and get paid. And Disney World fans get excited.
And a video's worth $1 million.
Ponce Law is the only firm in Middle Tennessee with the Ponce Crash Cam Network, giving us instant access to recorded traffic footage from highway and street cameras in Middle Tennessee to prove your case. So if you've been injured in an accident, call us at 615-244-4321. Ponce Law, justice for all.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Eurostone. Fox 17 News Farrier Files is sponsored by Bart Durham Injury Law.
In business news, if you love peanuts, Planters may well have a job for you. Hormel Foods is looking for 3 peanutters to chauffeur Mr. Peanut across the country in what you're looking at there, the Nutmobile. It's a full-time job, runs for a year from this June to next June. The company is looking for college graduates with a bachelor degree in things like marketing, communications, advertising, or public relations. Potential applicants, they say, need to have an appetite for adventure and a desire to travel. The application deadline is 4 days away. And entertainment news, rock legends Kiss just sold their song catalog, brand name, and IP address to Pop House Entertainment in Sweden. The deal is estimated to be valued at over $300 million. This is not the first time that Kiss has teamed up with Pop House, which was founded by one of the members of ABBA. The final night of the Kiss farewell tour, the band actually revealed digitized avatars of themselves, and it's those avatars that will, as we say, keep on rocking into the night, but that's another band. An Avatar show is scheduled to launch in the second half of 2027 here in North America. I was talking to some of the people in studio, Brett. Some of us remember Kiss better than others, but you remember some of the songs they had in the 80s.
I know a couple of them. I don't know a whole lot, but I know a little bit.
It's cool. They certainly got a place in rock history, and we're tickled that things are going well for them, and they cashed in on the way out.
They did.
I like the sound of that.
Yep.
Speaking of cash, a $60 billion expansion.
Now, the DA is looking into the case again.
See the full story at fox17.com. For more stories like these, watch Fox 17 News at 9. In business news tonight, Disney is revealing some new details about its $60 billion expansion. That's billion with a B. Walt Disney World official confirming the project will include a new 14-acre area within the Magic Kingdom. They're calling it the largest expansion ever for the park, but the official did not reveal any themes, designs, or an opening date for that expansion. It will include projects in other parks, we're told, and cruises over the next decade. Disney's plans come as the Universal Orlando Resort is preparing to open a 3rd theme park on its property next year.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
We begin tonight with a high cost of homelessness as Metro City leaders are being pushed to do something about the homeless people who are living along the banks of the Cumberland River downtown and the trash that they generate. City leaders say it's an ongoing issue, one highlighted, though, by the recent search for the missing Missouri College student Riley Strain. Community advocates and Metro Councilman Jacob Coupin are among those calling for a fence to be put up along the river downtown to keep the homeless out. They're also working on a plan to address the trash that's piling up near those camps.
They've already been working on, these efforts pertaining to litter, pertaining to housing, pertaining to security, all that. After Riley's disappearance, I engaged in kind of more urgent conversations around that riverfront area.
Councilman Coupin says that Metro Parks and the National Department of Transportation have already been down there to take measurements for the fencing. The Department of Homeless Services is now working on wraparound services for the people who are living in those camps. Tonight in Crisis in the Classroom, state lawmakers say the legislative session could wrap up before the end of the month, maybe earlier. The question is, will they be able to pass one of the 3 competing school voucher plans in time? Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller live downtown near the state capitol with more on the status of those school choice bills.
Yes, Scott, the three versions of the bill include the House, Senate, and governor's bill. Now, some Republicans believe that this will become law in no time, while other Democrats say that they are less optimistic about this. Now, the school voucher bill, also known as the school choice bill, would give families the choice to send their children to private or public schools. The Senate version of this bill passed that chamber, but the governor's and the House's versions have yet to pass. Representative William Lamberth says that the House and Senate have never been closer together, while Senator Heidi Campbell believes they're so far apart on their versions of this bill.
It's too hard for the House and the Senate to reconcile these two bills because they're so different. So I cannot believe that we could get that done in 2 weeks when we're supposed to be closing down session.
When you look at the different topics that are in this bill, actually the House and Senate, in my opinion, have never been closer together on this, and those conversations are going extremely well.
In the House, this bill hasn't been heard in committee in a few weeks, but Representative Lambert says that the bill will be discussed in committee next week and could move through the House as early as next week or the following. Reporting live from the state capitol, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
New information tonight about a proposal before the Metro School Board to put more limits on public comments. Now, speakers are already limited to only 3 minutes. They have to register in advance. Well, now there is a new proposal to limit speakers to only topics on the board's agenda. And it would make you submit written comments 48 hours before the meeting. Last night, we showed you teachers and others who were pushing back, and school board member Abigail Taylor is pushing back too.
It's unnecessarily burdensome. Not everyone who comes to speak wants to plan out every single word that they say ahead of time. And it really disadvantages speakers whose first language is not English.
Metro School Board expected to vote on these proposed changes at its next meeting, which is Tuesday night. Crisis in the Classroom is our commitment to you to expose problems in our schools and find solutions. If you have a story that you'd like to see us cover, tell us about it in an email. Send that to news@fox17.com, or you can pick up the phone and call our tip line. That number is 615-266-4149. New tonight, a 3-judge panel here in Nashville is weighing arguments about whether some of the language in Tennessee's abortion law is too vague. Under the law, doctors can only perform the procedure if a woman's life is in danger or if the pregnancy could do her serious physical harm. Attorneys for a couple of doctors and 9 women who filed the suit argue that there needs to be more clarity, and should be. The state's asking for the lawsuit to be dismissed. The judge has heard all the arguments, and they have taken this case under advisement. The new ground search for Sebastian Rogers that began yesterday continued today near Beach High School in Sumner County. The 15-year-old who has autism disappeared from his home nearby less than a month ago. Police officers from Hendersonville, Laverne, Murfreesboro joining the Sumner County Sheriff's Department's deputies and TBI agents today. They're again searching the wooded areas near the Rogers home. Volunteers from several civilian groups are also pitching in to help with that search. To see all of our previous reporting on the Rogers case, go to our website, fox17.com, and search Sebastian.
Today we had 56 degrees in Nashville. That keeps us 13 degrees below normal, or kept us 13 degrees below normal for earlier this afternoon. So a chilly day for us. We are going to get cold again tonight and even Friday night too. We could even see a little bit of patchy frost develop as well. Been seeing a lot of gold out there on Broadway. The Preds game wrapped up. Preds won tonight on this cool night. 47 degrees right here in Nashville, and we are still pretty cloudy. We're going to keep some of those clouds around with us as we head through the next several hours too. Wide view of radar still showing the shower activity well to the north of here. Not really seeing much of that now in southern Kentucky or middle Tennessee. We had a few of these light showers move through earlier. This is really right here along the plateau now, and just very, very light shower activity. Really nothing to worry about at all, but most of us are still dry. Good news as far as our drought situation goes too. None of middle Tennessee or southern Kentucky in really any sort of drought. The shade of yellow, those are just abnormally dry conditions for portions of western areas of middle Tennessee and into southern Kentucky too. Temperatures right now 40s for most locations. It is cool, and it's going to get even colder as we head through the rest of the night. Some chilly nights ahead, and then we're talking about a better chance for some showers and storms next week. More details on that in just a bit.
But thank you. This Sunday morning on Full Measure, new government estimates on just how many people are still suffering the effects of COVID-19. Chances are good you know somebody. The National Institutes of Health study says as many as 1 in 4 adults here in this country, 25% who had the virus, are dealing with long-haul COVID. Yet many doctors are not getting the latest science for diagnosis or treatment. A couple of doctors who deal with thousands of people with long-haul COVID say they are learning new information daily.
Describe what you see happening to people. What is happening to patients?
So in many ways, I mean, it is very young people that were otherwise athletic and living their life in basically every way you would think a fit, 20 to 40-year-old would do. And then they go from that to being debilitated. And then on top of that, as Pierre said, I mean, the kind of increase in the type of cancer diagnosis that I even have in my primary care practice, to neurological diseases that I never thought would happen, to things like systemic amyloidosis that I would have never seen in some of these patients, or may have seen once in a lifetime.
This week on Full Measure, Cheryl Atkinson examining the latest research on perplexing illnesses stemming from COVID-19 and the vaccines. That's Sunday morning at 7:30 right here on Fox 17. Still ahead tonight on Fox 17 News at 10, growing.
A Big Bang Theory. Cool. Redefined.
Tomorrow at 6 on Fox 17.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by the Rocky McElhaney Law Firm.
Continuing coverage now on the war in Israel as President Biden speaks with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today for the first time since aid workers were killed in an Israeli airstrike. And as Rebecca Castor shows us, the president is ramping up his criticism.
This is the beautiful, fragrant, aromatic rice that will be served today.
They were there to serve food to civilians on both sides. But earlier this week, 7 World Central Kitchen aid workers were killed in an Israeli airstrike. A tragedy drawing worldwide criticism and sharp accusations from the organization's founder.
And the airstrikes on our convoy, I don't think were an unfortunate mistake. It was really a direct attack on a clearly marked vehicles whose movements were known.
In a statement, President Biden said he was outraged and heartbroken by the tragedy. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu acknowledged his country's responsibility and said it would investigate. The incident will likely be high on the agenda when the two leaders speak on Thursday.
We want to see it wrapped up as soon as possible and see them put in place any measures to prevent this from happening again in the future.
Civilian deaths have been a major controversy during the war, with Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry putting the death toll at over 30,000. Yet the White House has yet to change its stance towards its ally.
We are still supporting Israel's ability to defend itself against a still viable threat. And that's going to continue.
Another point of contention between Biden and Netanyahu, Israel's plans to invade Rafah, a Hamas stronghold in the Gaza Strip, but also where more than 1 million Palestinians are sheltering. Talks are ongoing about how to evacuate civilians without it resulting in a humanitarian disaster. U.S. officials are also still negotiating with both sides on an immediate ceasefire and hostage deal. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Ahead of a visit from President Biden, officials in Baltimore are working to clean up a massive bridge collapse facing difficult conditions. I'm Connor Hansen in New York. Coming up, the new resources for businesses that rely on the closed port.
Safe. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Tennessee Home Buyers.
Amazon is cutting hundreds of jobs at its cloud computing business. The layoffs will affect sales, marketing, and global services teams. The Wall Street Journal reporting the move is to cut costs in the latest round of layoffs. Amazon has recently been investing more in its AI business. Omni Hotels and Resorts says it was a victim of a cybercrime that caused the company to shut down its systems last week. The hack disrupting reservations and digital key systems. The company saying as our team works diligently to restore the remainder of the systems to full functionality, we continue to welcome our guests and accept new reservations. It's unclear if any customer data was compromised. Drivers on at least 30 interstates across 15 states are set to be affected by the upcoming solar eclipse on Monday. And the DOT is warning people on the road to expect severe traffic as people flock to watch the rare phenomenon. One expert telling Time magazine, quote, having a total solar eclipse pass through the U.S. is kind of like having 20 or 30 Super Bowls happening all at once. Several major airports also fall within the eclipse's path of totality. Because of the heavy traffic expected, hundreds of schools are closing or switching to remote learning on Monday. And Apple is reportedly looking into developing a personal home robot. People familiar with the research team tell Bloomberg that Apple wants to develop a robot that can follow you around your home. The news comes after Apple announced in February it was abandoning its decade-old electric vehicle project. That's business. In New York, CJ Papa, Fox News.
Earlier in the newscast, we told you about our nightly X poll. The question today, do you think that school teachers should be paid more if their classes are over capacity? Over 500 votes now, nearly 80% saying yes and just over 20% saying no. We want to thank all those who voted and invite you to keep an eye out for a new X poll on the Fox 17 X page tomorrow. Continuing coverage now on efforts to clear the shipping channel at the Port of Baltimore. Crews are continuing to battle dangerous conditions there as they try to remove steel and other debris from the Key Bridge collapse. As Connor Hansen shows us tonight, local leaders are also doing what they can to help the owners of businesses impacted by this disaster.
For their response and bravery, it is the Chief's honor to present these officers with the Chief's Award.
Police divers were honored for fearlessly searching the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge for victims in dark, dangerous conditions. They say they could still hear the unstable bridge and ship creaking and moving underwater in the Patapsco River. The bodies of 2 out of 6 victims were recovered.
And I can tell you on that day that the spirit that was present there of collaboration and caring, it was just tremendous.
Since then, salvage efforts have been made more complicated by bad weather, and divers are still dealing with a difficult and dangerous situation underwater.
That water is so murky that salvage divers cannot see any more than 1 to 2 feet in front of them.
Smaller passages have been opened up to get some supplies in and out of the port. Federal officials say on top of the reopening of the entire channel, they're already planning a replacement bridge and how to fund it.
I think we're going to have strong bipartisan support. This is a catastrophic event to an infrastructure that affects our nation.
With the Port of Baltimore still mostly closed, a variety of different businesses are feeling the economic ripple effect. The Small Business Administration is meeting with some of them and is now offering up to $2 million loans.
Businesses are telling us that obviously, first and foremost, they want to be able to continue to survive. They would like to find a way forward.
President Biden is visiting the site of the collapse Friday to meet with local leaders. The White House has said it expects the federal government to pay for a new bridge. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
In health news tonight, if you are being hit with intense allergies this spring, no, you are not alone. Scientists say that the allergy season is worse than ever this year. They also say more people are getting allergies, symptoms are worse, and allergy seasons lasting longer. Experts blame climate change. Plants, they say, are blooming earlier because of rising temperatures, and more frequent thunderstorms can make pollen grains burst. And that just makes them more irritating. And Brett and I were talking earlier. We have both been through it. One of us is still going through it.
Man, I don't know what's going on. It's at least I'm kind of on the downhill, whatever that saying is. I got a little bit of brain fog too going on right now, but
that's COVID.
Well, hey everybody, it's a little bit of a chilly night for us. A little bit of patchy frost is going to be possible for us for tonight and for tomorrow night as well. I'll show you that here in a minute, some of these temperatures that we're looking at. Here's a live look over Broadway. Still seeing a little bit of gold out there. Some people walking around with their Preds jerseys on. Preds won tonight. Temperature at 47 right here in Nashville. Still some cloud cover, and we're going to see a little bit of a break in that cloud cover, I think, as we head on into very early tomorrow morning. Most of the rain has been well to the north of us for the most of today. Southern Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, really not seeing a whole lot of anything going on right now. Just a few of these very light showers right there around the plateau, and that is it. Everybody else is dry, and those that are seeing the rain, it is very light, really not causing you any sort of issues right now. Temperatures are in the 40s for most locations. 44 in Clarksville, Gallatin, 44 in Lebanon, 45 Lewisburg, or down into Tullahoma too. Future track not showing much of a rain chance for the remainder of tonight. I think we're going to really keep it mostly dry. The clouds are going to start to clear out too, and then Friday morning we're going to start out dry, partly cloudy, and we're going to stay partly cloudy throughout the rest of Friday and stay dry through the rest of Friday as well. Once we get into Saturday, we're going to start Saturday out dry. We stay dry through the rest of Saturday, and then as we head on into Sunday, that's when things change up a little bit for us. We just have to wait a little bit longer in the day for that rain to get here. Sunday morning, I think we'll be off to a dry start. Late Sunday afternoon, some showers move into our northwestern counties here in Middle Tennessee, southwestern counties in part of Kentucky, and then that'll keep on moving to the east. 10 o'clock Sunday night, widespread activity. Still some showers possible in our eastern and southern counties for Monday morning. I'm thinking we'll get a little bit of a break in the rain, at least for Monday, for the eclipse. As far as the cloud cover, though, I don't know if we're going to be so lucky on that. The cloud forecast not looking the greatest for us here in Middle Tennessee or into parts of southern Kentucky. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, that rain becomes more widespread. The good news, though, with this rain on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, as of right now, I think that severe weather threat is staying to the south and west of here. Not looking at much of a severe weather threat for us for those days right now, at least. 63 the high on Saturday. We're in the mid-70s Sunday and Monday. Only dropped down a little bit on Tuesday, down to 72. 76 are high on Wednesday. 60% chance for showers and thunderstorms on Tuesday and Wednesday.
More than just a reason to take a day off.
Biscuit. Breakfast doesn't need to be bougie, just good. And served till 11 a.m.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by the Nashville Preds.
Monday's solar eclipse will give scientists a rare opportunity to study and better understand how the sun's activity impacts communications here on Earth as well as infrastructure. Michael Yoshida asking NASA experts about this very unique opportunity.
As millions watch the moon block out the sun, scientists across the globe will be keeping a close watch too. This eclipse allowing researchers to study the outer edges of the sun in a way they normally can't.
If you talk to the science community about this, they call the moon the perfect coronagraph because it blocks out most of the sun in just a way that allows us to look at the corona.
That's the outer atmosphere of the sun, a place scientists still have many questions about. It's where solar winds and storms come from, which when aimed at Earth can affect our upper atmosphere.
Sometimes in great ways like the northern lights, and sometimes in not so great ways like disrupting communications.
NASA will be using sounding rockets and high-altitude planes to try and better understand this solar activity. In the past, GPS, electrical grids, satellites, and more have been impacted by solar storms.
The sun's activity is ramping up.
Peter Becker, a George Mason University professor, is working with the Navy and Department of Defense to better understand how solar activities impact systems on Earth, including the internet. He says a lot of infrastructure needs to be improved to prevent what he calls an internet apocalypse.
If you take the internet down, even for a day, I think the estimates are like about $10 billion of economic damage per day in the U.S. alone.
I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
On Monday, be sure to check out the Fox 17 website, fox17.com. We've got a 30-minute solar eclipse special for you. It starts at 1:45, runs to 2:15. Our chief meteorologist, Katie Morgan, will be in the path of totality, as they say, sharing some really cool science facts. She is geeked out about this, so looking forward to it. And you can see total coverage of the eclipse from Texas all the way across the country, Tennessee up to the Northeast, at fox17.com from noon until 3.
A remarkable story that saved this little boy's life who was in need of a liver donation. On Liz Bonus, we can't wait to...
We believe in football.
Sunday at 3 on Fox 17.
In health news tonight, the family of a little boy whose life was saved by a stranger is now raising awareness about the need for living organ donors. Fox 17 medical reporter Liz Bonus tonight has their story.
So this is a story about saving little Curtis, who you see here. He was diagnosed with a rare childhood blood cancer, and it scarred his liver and left him in need of a liver transplant. And so in January of last year, this little 3-year-old, Curtis Binkley, was put on the transplant list for a liver donor.
We started praying about it and everything like that, sticking his face and picture in the church bulletin, and and then eventually one day we found out that there was somebody out there.
That somebody happened to be Shannon Black. She had signed up to be tested as a living liver donor, hoping to give a portion of her liver to her cousin, who also needed a transplant. Sadly, her cousin did not survive.
I think if he hadn't had to wait so long, he could have made it through.
But in that process, guess what? It turned out Shannon's liver was the perfect size and match for little Curtis. Welcome news for a family praying for a miracle.
We finally had, hope after just waiting months and months and months.
This is little Curtis now. After that successful liver living donor transplant, his family and Shannon met up with us at Cincinnati's Great American Ballpark. A major league game this month supports living liver donation.
Without the donations, I don't know what we would be doing right now.
While Shannon is sad about her own family's loss, she says every donor moves someone else up the list.
And I think it's just a really important, life-changing thing to do.
The family of this now healthy little boy says you can't imagine how much.
It takes an amazing person to give a part of themselves so a little guy like him could live.
So just to clarify, you can donate a portion of your liver while alive because it's the only human organ that regenerates. If you'd like to find out more about perhaps helping someone in this way, you can reach out to the Living Liver Foundation. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
Liz, thank you. Everybody's talking about the eclipse, but we got a long way to go between here and there, and I'm hoping that some wind will move the clouds out of the way.
I really hope so, because if we were to just have it right now, the forecast for
Not
it's
good.
not looking the greatest. So hopefully some of those clouds will break up by the time the eclipse is actually happening for us. It is going to be chilly tonight. That's the other news. Patchy frost going to be possible tonight and for tomorrow night, too.
All right. Well, just know we're going to continue to monitor the cloud cover between now and then, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for being with us.